This one.
Grade A.
Hey, run that thing up.
No, but listen to me. The thing is if he shows up in finals and they still lose, he can still be up there.
Frenchman up there talking his language. We need to get this stop. No, it's you, and I still.
Grade A.
In the East? Phillies around?
Yeah, can you guys stick around? Can you beat me to
Hey, run that thing up.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Grade A Show. I got Musa and Mike here today. I know I've been out the past couple of weeks, but I'm back.
My boy been slacking.
I'm back, fellas. I'm back. Everybody watching, man, we just appreciate y'all for being here. We finally got the 200 subs, but we want to keep running the numbers up, man. Keep running the numbers up. Continue to subscribe to the channel, share the channel, like the channel, and leave a comment down below if you feel the need to do so. We got a couple of hot topics, as you see the title down below. We're going to be carrying from last week's episode where we talked about a little bit. I think Musa and Mike, y'all did a all-team NBA list and stuff.
Yeah, we did an All NBA first through third team, and we did the defense as well. We kind of went back and forth on whether or not who we think should get the final spot. If not, I have the spreadsheet up. Obviously, one of the names that we kind of agreed upon for the third spot won't be there considering the injury, but which we're going to talk about in just a moment. But yeah, if you have your list, we kind of just go through and kind of vote on who you think will be where and whatnot, and then we can add to it throughout until we get to the end of the regular season.
Yeah, speaking of Dame Lillard, I mean, let's just jump into it. I think he had ended up suffering a blood clot in his leg or something like that.
And his calf.
Yeah, I mean, them injuries is serious, but I wish the best of luck to him. It kind of sucks to see another pivotal piece on that team, another star in the league go out. We've been dealing with a lot of injuries this year in the NBA. But I think that's just another hit for Milwaukee. I think finals contention. It ain't nothing for me personally. Ain't nothing against Giannis, but I think with Dame being out, I think that definitely eliminates the chances for the Bucks making the finals appearance this year.
Mike, I'll let you go.
Yeah, I don't have too much really. I believe didn't Dame get injured last year too, around the playoff time, if I remember correctly?
He got hurt to the end of the season, but he was there for the playoffs.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
he got hurt the last maybe game or two in that series against Indiana, but for the most part, he was relatively there for the series.
Yeah, I didn't really have too high hopes for the Bucks anyway, but it depends on who they play first round. Probably be first round exit, to be honest.
Okay,
Yeah, it's looking like in the standings right now. I think they've been losing a couple of games, and they're now and let me just confirm.
they're the 6th seed, I believe.
Yeah, so it's looking like if the playoffs were to start today, we're talking about a Knicks and Bucks matchup. Figuratively speaking, if that was to happen,
So let's talk about it.
how do y'all think that series goes?
Bucks, Knicks.
Depends if Brunson's back.
Well, I'll be honest. I think that's the better matchup for them based on what is the matchup. So, for example, if they was to end up playing Indiana, I think it'll be a tougher series because of the guard play and having someone like Tyrese Halliburton being able to attack the guards outside of not Dame being there. I think that'll be more challenging for the Bucks. But with the Knicks, considering Brunson's going to be potentially be out, I think they have a better chance to make the series interesting. I do believe they probably lose in 6 or 7, but I'm not counting out Giannis because I think Giannis is good enough to get you over the hump and kind of give you the backpack and get you out of the first round at least, depending on whether it's the Knicks or the Pacers.
Yeah, I think you bringing up Indiana, for me, I think the scariest thing with Indiana is that they probably got a solid 5 guys that, when we talk about the pick and roll offense, like that's kind of like we seen the other day, they dropped 162 points, even though it was against a shitty ass Washington team. But the fact that they have 5 guys that could effectively run the pick and roll and it works for them. You got Halliburton, Miles Turner. Miles Turner could dribble the ball a little bit. And he works in the pick and roll pretty well.
Yeah, he good working out the nail and stuff, but he's more of a sharpshooter.
You got Siakam, Mathurin is back. I don't think the Indiana matchup would – I think it'll look a lot more worse than what it did last year for them, given the situation with Dame being out now.
I'm going to let Mike add on to this, but to add to your point real quick, I think I can see your point of view for different reasons. And one of the reasons will be not the offense. I think it's the defense. People don't really talk about how sneaky good Indiana is defensively, especially this season because of how bad they were. If you watch them this year, especially second after All-Star break compared to last season, it's night and day defensively. People don't talk about it enough. I don't think he's going to be able to make it due to the requirements. Andrew Nembhard is someone that could be in these conversations for all defensive team. He's been one of the best POA defenders this season. You have Mathurin, who's solid on defense. Siakam is one of the better two-way players at the wing position. So, with all that being said, I think their defenses was being overshadowed because they're so known for their offensive prowess.
Mike, you got anything on that? What's good, Lou?
What's going on, fellas?
What's going on? My boy, he got an ejector. Got the shades on. I don't trust you, Lou. What's going on, man?
Hey, man, I'm just incognito, just out here and about, man. Staying low, making moves.
Yes, sir.
I feel your point on the Indiana part defensively. I think what we're seeing from last year is carrying into this year with that team. They're just starting to pick it up a little bit more at the right time, getting closer to the playoffs. I just think for the Milwaukee right now, especially with the Dame injury, I don't, even from before, we know Dame's a liability when it comes to the offensive standpoint of a defensive standpoint of things. But I just think with him down now, if we was to compare the two with the Knicks and the Bucks, the Knicks and the Pacers, I would think Milwaukee would have a better chance with the Knicks than the Pacers right now.
Fair enough. All right. Well, you beat me to it. Yeah. Mike, you have any thoughts on a potential first round matchup with the Bucks and the Knicks and whether or not the Bucks can potentially win that series without Dame? By the way, before you go, the Dame blood clot situation is not as serious as it was to Chris Bosh situation, so it is a chance that he could make it back for the playoffs, which is a good sign.
That's a huge risk at the same time. Blood clots is not nothing to play with. I haven't experienced them, but we've seen what Wemby went through. I think didn't LaMarcus Aldridge deal with something like this?
I believe so. I'm not 100% sure. I think his was more like the heart and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, I don't know. When it comes to blood clot things, I know you got to be real cautious with that stuff. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, if it's Knicks Bucks, I got Knicks in 6. If it's Pacers Bucks, I got Pacers in 5. And I mentioned this, I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but even though it appears Milwaukee has depth on paper, when you watch them, that depth really just isn't there. So each injury is a big blow to him, even if it was on a guy that, say, Dame does get healthy and another guy goes down, say, for example, like Taurean Prince, Brook Lopez, Kuzma, any of those guys. I think that's a huge hit to the team. But even if they have Dame, I don't think that would make a difference in either one of those series. Just maybe it'd be Pacers in 6 instead of 5, and I still think Knicks in 6 regardless whether Dame's there or not.
I just also think at the same time, just to piggyback off of that, is that just being realistic, Dame's getting old. I just thought we're not getting peak Dame anymore.
We get a damn good Dame though. He's an All NBA Dame, 26.
Yeah, I'm definitely not taking that away from him, but it's still not peak Dame. But that comes with age. That's just what it is, and stuff. Lou, I know you heard about Dame being out with that blood clot injury, man. How you feeling about, I guess, the Bucks right now and where they're heading? Coming playoff time, we're only like 8 games away.
Yeah, that's a big hit to Milwaukee for sure. That's like you said, it's a guaranteed 26 points. So you can't just easily say, hey, next man up, we're gonna pick up from where Dame was. Just not gonna happen. But it does leave a little bit of room for them to develop a new chemistry with the guys they did bring in, such as Kevin Porter Jr. I think he's still a good player that can kind of add value and depth to what they'd already seen. Like, granted, he's been doing all right, but he hasn't really been able to spread his wings in a sense where they kind of, like I said, built around Giannis again. I see it kind of the friction a little bit between Giannis and Kuzma sometimes on how they run up and down in transition. And I see they're trying to figure it out a little bit and see where Kuzma can find his moments of where he attacks or then where he gets to the Giannis and then gets out the way. But I think that's still going to be part of a building concept, which I see why everybody got the Knicks beating them up, because the Knicks got the overall better chemistry going into the playoffs, and then losing Dame is kind of like a for sure thing, making the Bucks the immediate underdogs in that series. So I think Giannis is strong enough to carry the team. I just don't know how far he may be able to get him through the first round. And so I think this is a true testament on how Giannis' legacy is going to turn out. So I think Kevin Porter Jr. and staff can pick up. They can't replace, but they can pick up and see how that goes. But I think if Giannis is who he said he is, this is when we really about to see what he's made of.
But let me ask you this, even with putting that all on his back and say that he is able to take them past the first round, like how much longer do you think Giannis is going to put up with Milwaukee? Because I was surprised that he re-signed that deal before the season had started. I thought that he was going to wait until this offseason to see how things played out this year.
He wanted that guaranteed bag first.
Yeah.
Any time realistically. If I'm Milwaukee, we ain't divorcing.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he can always get an extension anyway after signing the contract per usual that they do, depending on how the market's looking. So he's going to get his money regardless. If he signs now and then 5 years later, what the market's going to be then, damn near probably be making $500,000 just off of the contracts alone.
I just think when we talk about Giannis, like I don't think that, anybody should take a short on their pay, especially when it comes to where the money is going nowadays in the NBA. But I genuinely think he's one of those players that actually care about winning championships. And I just don't foresee him dealing with this situation in Milwaukee further longer if it's something where we're dealing with Dame having injuries. This is going on year 2 now straight, where we're dealing with injuries, and then I have to put the team on my back once again. I already did that in, 2021?
Yeah, but I mean...
Let me tag in, Luke. Let me correct him real quick. The championship season, he got hurt. I'm in the midst of that run, and they carried the load. He came back just in time and got that done with Drew and the crew. Last season, as we mentioned before Lou got on, Dame did get hurt towards the end of the season. Dame did get hurt during the playoff round against Indiana, but it was Giannis who was out. Giannis was been out last 2 seasons.
He missed about a game or 2.
I just feel like with this situation between particularly Dame and Giannis being the two that they wanted to put together, try to get them another ring, they haven't had a postseason. It sucks. This is going on year 3, I'm assuming going into next season, where they haven't been able to play together in the postseason when it matters most. Either one was out or the other. And I just think it sucks. We're missing out on a potential chance to see what they can really do together. And I think they're starting to really get that chemistry throughout this season. As you've seen, Dame is not as aggressive on offense at times. He picks his spots, which is why he's top 10, I believe, in assists this season, or top 9, either or. And he's still yet give you 25 a game. So to what Lou mentioned, I kind of think Kuzma, since they got him during the deadline, he hasn't really been good. They got to find a way to get him into the offensive flow, and that's on the Doc Rivers and the coaching staff thing. We all know what he is defensively, but I still believe they can beat the Knicks without Dame because I think Giannis can do it. And even without Dame, I'm sorry, they're gonna keep putting Cat in pick and roll, and they're gonna keep putting Mikal on the pick and roll. He's gonna keep dying on screens, and because of New York's lack of front court depth, I think that gives them a chance. Now, Milwaukee's gonna have to be really good on the perimeter against Brunson, but we're not sure how healthy Brunson's gonna be coming back. But I just think Giannis is gonna be able to put pressure on that front court, get them in foul trouble because New York don't have depth either. Even though they got players that can play off that bench, Tibbs just don't play them all. I think that's going to give them a huge chance to beat the Knicks, which I potentially could say Bucks and 6. I put it in my name. Indiana, though, I just don't see them winning that series because of the pace Indiana plays at.
Yeah, I think the two biggest things with Giannis is just staying healthy, not getting into foul trouble, and I guess time managing when it comes to the playoffs with him. Just without Dame, it's going to be a lot. The Knicks ain't no slouch, but we know the Knicks to be one of those teams when it's somebody above 500, they're just not. Regardless, I mean, they're just not there. Like you said, I think you bring up a big point with Brunson being hurt. Is going to be a major key in that series, depending on how healthy he is. But yeah, I think as long as he stays not in foul trouble, and stays healthy, I mean, I could see it happening. But Indiana, I do agree that fast pace. I don't really think that's going to work for Milwaukee if that is the first round matchup. Taylor Jenkins got fired, fellas. What's up with that? That was a little weird. 7 games away from the playoffs. I don't think it's basketball related, in my opinion. Who knows what could have been going on internally? I don't think any news had dropped in regards to why he got fired, but it was just a little weird to me.
Yeah, it was reported that once they got back to the facility, they let him know that he was being relieved of his duties in person. But yeah, to your point, I think I'm gonna let Mike and Luke kind of chime in on this. It was a surprise for most people, especially considering the playoffs is right around the corner. Memphis, now that the majority of the key players is healthy, they're a top 5 team in the West. You have a potential All-NBA, All-Defensive player on your team in Jaren Jackson Jr. And you fire the coach who, since he's been there, has a career with this team was a 54% win percentage since he's been in Memphis. I just don't understand where the fire came from. I heard some reports and rumors about the Josh and him conflict. I don't really buy into that, which is why I'm not going to really go into details of what was reported. But all in all, I think it's just a strange firing, and now he becomes one of the top candidates for the next head coaching jobs going into next season because it's hard for me to see him not get another job by the end of this offseason.
It's also going to be a little weird to see him. Like, I hope he definitely does get a different head coaching job, but it's going to be weird to see him in. It seems like his style of coaching fit Memphis very well for the past 6 years. So it was a little weird. Mike, Lou, what y'all got on that fire?
First thing when I heard this was closest thing I can remember to it is the Ime Udoka thing. So I doubt it's the same situation.
Let's hope it's not. Let's hope it's not.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who knows? We'll see him on a ring camera or something. But yeah, I don't know, man. For all we know, it could be something actually really bad, and that the league said, "Hey, we don't want to have to do this to you guys. We're giving you a heads up. You guys just let them go." It could be an internal conflict with the players. I don't think anyone really knows right now that other than maybe people close to the situation.
Now,
I haven't
but
seen anything reported.
If it is something like that,
they got loud.
If it is something like that, I would highly be shocked given how you bring up Ime and how they broadcasted that. And if they leave something like this under wraps, I just want to see how this plays out, if that is the case. But
We all know how that gonna play out. We not going in that rabbit hole. We know.
Listen. It's all politics at the end of the day. Who knows what's going on? So they bring this man into the office and they send him bye with ease. Another one's all over freaking CNN News and all over the place. But we'll see what happens. Go ahead, Lou.
My take is, I think this is shocking, but not shocking as we think. Just given the way the season ended last year with all the injuries. Now, I'm not gonna speculate to say that anything was said, but I'm pretty sure it was some words between the higher ups and the coach, given how many players they had injured to the point where they had to tap into their whole G League team to play a good amount of games for the season, just because their core along with the bench were all injured.
Competitive too.
You can't tell me that didn't play a part in it. I'm sure there was stress levels on both sides. People not seeing eye to eye. You trying to figure out what's the future? What are we doing? What's the future of this team? If I got beat up players, how the heck you expect me to do this, do that? I'm pretty sure they're expecting him to still have that we're going to make it to the playoffs and give it a good push mindset. And just sometimes, we talk about realistic and delusion, and sometimes the higher ups can be in delusion based off what they have. And, they are ultimately they're the ones signing your checks. So, I don't think it was shocking, like you said, because they still are in the playoffs. 7 games into the playoffs is kind of crazy. But I think it probably came to a point where Taylor Jenkins probably said some stuff, got it off his chest, and was just like, hey, wherever the chips lie, that's where they lie.
Hey, Lou,
I can say I went out saying what.
Lou, what Sanders used to say, or what's other you say you got 15 doors, you better pick one. You got 15 doors, you better pick one. If you don't, it could be something like that, where it's just something building up with him for a long time, and he finally got it out.
Memphis is currently 44-29. They're tied with the Lakers for the 4th seed. Right now, if the playoffs will start, they'll be playing the Lakers in the first round, and they'll be the road team as the 5th seed. So just want to put that out there.
Where do y'all think things go from here with Memphis? Like, I don't know. For me, it's kind of weird. It's a little weird for John Morant, Jaren Jackson in that situation right now. I think they got a solid crew. They deal with a lot of injuries, unfortunately, this year. But
they still going at it. I know you've seen the dispute between Adama and Desmond Bain just the other night.
Yeah, I think that was more competitive juices flowing. Like, yo, do your job. I love seeing that from the team because it shows me that they care. They want to win. I don't think John's gonna be there long term. Depending on who they hire. Because that was going to be my question to you guys. Who you guys think will be the next head coach?
You see, I was about to say there was speculation early in the season where fans were saying, hey, who's saying that Ja is going to be traded? And then the owner or somebody had to go out and make a statement basically saying, hey, we're not trading Ja. I don't know where that's coming from. False news is coming from. We're happy with Ja. He's our captain. He's our this and that. And I think that right there is kind of like, it might be some inside maneuver, somebody going out, spilling out speakers. They're supposed to stay in the locker room.
Don't get me wrong. I believe everything the owner potentially said. But, depending on who the new coach is, what their regime is going to be like, how they're going to put their finger onto this system, it could ruffle feathers, it could not. And then players might want to be traded. Who knows? But early candidate, I think Taylor Jenkins might be in Phoenix. It's a long shot because I don't know if Phoenix is going to want to have to pay Mike and Frank's contract still.
Mike's gone.
But hear me out, though. They're still paying Frank Vogel after firing him after 1 season. That load of money. Your cap's already tight as it is. Do you think they're going to want to pay not only Frank's contract out still?
Phoenix is just in a hole at this point.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a long shot. But I would love to see him there. I think with his culture, he can really bring some type of system back into Phoenix and where they were before the Chris Paul trade or things of that nature.
Or you can go to Charlotte.
I don't see Charlotte in off of Charles.
Yeah, not this fast.
Not this. Yeah, Charlotte's a dumpster fire too, but they're in a better position. I think once Brandon Miller's healthy, I think they can be a little bit more formidable down the
I
line.
can see them either if they can't get Cooper Flag. I could definitely see them drafting Ace Bailey to come in and kind of shape some stuff up for them. They can kind of complete with their starting lineup. They kind of need that, that another 4 that can
They
plug
play
in with.
Miles Bridges at the 4 now. You have Brandon Miller at the 2. At the 3.
Nah,
And Ace
Charlotte,
can play.
Charlotte,
Ace
I
can
don't
be a
like
3. Ace can be 2, 3, and 4 though.
No, I'm not playing him at the 2. I put him at the 3 or the.
But that's what I'm saying. Even if you ain't gonna put him at the 2 because you got Brandon Miller. Of course, Brandon Miller's a better 2 than Ace Bailey.
He's just a better player, in my opinion. But
For sure. But that's what I'm saying. 6'10", a lot of upside to him. I'm pretty sure you will plug him in at your power forward position along with Miles
I'll leave
Bridges.
him at the 3. I'd rather Bridges at the 4 because he got his body. He can be more physical. Bailey got kind of grown to his body. He's still kind of thin. But I just don't like the fit because I think he's, especially with the offense he played with Dylan Harper this season, he's more of a ball-dominant wing, and that's not going to be the case when he goes to Charlotte. It might be easy from off ball, so I have to see how he can play off ball a lot more, which he did at times this year with Dylan being the primary ball handler, because he's going to get easy looks off of LaMelo.
Yeah.
And I would personally like to see Cooper there, but I rather overall we'll see.
Definitely.
But another team that we can talk about before we get into the All NBA, I like Taylor Jenkins potentially going to Sacramento. I don't know if they're gonna give Doug Christie the full reins. If they don't, and they don't go Mike Bibby, because I just seen something about Mike Bibby being a coach at I think a college team, I believe. I don't know how true that is either, but nonetheless, I would love to see Taylor Jenkins in Sacramento. I think he can help bring some of that culture there because they got the pieces in that might kind of ensure Sabonis on trying to stay, considering everything that's been going on. So,
nah, I think he definitely has a couple of options. Hopefully, he gets into another job. Definitely before next season starts. I'm pretty sure he'll have plenty of opportunities and offers on the table. But still wild. That's wild. 7 games left into the season. I was actually looking forward. A lot of people was looking forward to Memphis this year. I think there was a number 2 seed at one point during the season for a quick glimpse. But good luck to them. Everybody watching, man, make sure y'all like the channel, subscribe to the channel if y'all haven't already. Musa, we are gonna start this. Get back into the All NBA teams from pick off from last week where you guys was at.
yes, sir. Mike, do you still have your list by any chance?
I can pull it up. Give me 2 seconds. I got it on my phone.
No rush. Just curious because I have mine on my computer, my notes. I don't have it up to see, but I can definitely share that at some point. But this is the list we end up deciding with me and Mike last week. Obviously, you guys watching, you see on all NBA third team, Dame got the spot over Kevin Durant, but that's obviously going to change now that Dame is out for the remainder of the regular season. I'm going to check. I don't know if he even hit the 65-game benchmark prior to the injury. I'm going to fact check that in just a moment.
So what are we going to do? We're going to come up with a grade A.
A grade A All-NBA list.
All
Yep.
right.
So Dame has played only 58 games, so he will not qualify, unfortunately.
Because the minimum is 65, correct? All right.
Now, I'm not sure if they do this for the All-NBA also, but I know they do it for some awards and maybe defense, where you have to play the 65 games and you have to at least play 20 minutes per of those 65 games. So I believe that's only for like most improved in all defensive teams. I don't think that is required. The 20-minute component, I don't believe is required for the All-NBA first, third, and second teams. But for defense, most improved, you have to have played at least 20 minutes each of those 65 games. Because the example for that, for those who are not aware, last season, Dante DiVincenzo was not qualified for the most improved because he didn't play 65 games. Each of those games were 20 minutes per. You look at his average minutes that season, he went over the 20-minute mark, but he didn't play 20 minutes in each of those 65 games. So because of that, he was not qualified for the award. I think that's stupid, but nonetheless, that's the rules and requirements for the award.
The defensive qualification seems a little bit more intense. Yeah, No, that's one of the biggest things when it comes to these selections is that you got to play a minimum of a certain amount of games. Of course, the statistical standpoint of things has to be, up to par,
Right.
stuff. But those things are definitely important.
So all those casuals that may be watching, like, where's Luca? Where's Wemby? They didn't make the requirement. So
65 game minimum. That's the biggest
therefore,
thing.
then that opens up for other players to get in. So
Let's take a look at the all NBA first team that you guys had selected from last week.
yep. So let me highlight this. So yeah, this is me and Mike's first team is pretty much the same as you see on this screen. The only difference is Mike had Donovan Mitchell. I put Cade. And I know Lou gonna love that. Yeah.
I'm
Yes,
not
sir.
mad.
Last week I had my name was Cade first team. So
Just
I'm not
you
mad
know
at
why I'm happy though, because I've been on the K bandwagon since the first appeared on the show, and I've had to prove to some folks but I didn't even have to say too much. Just let Cade show what he had to do, and then it's obviously showing he's a certified dog.
Of
man,
course,
so.
it's working in your favor because things are just working out for them.
Nah,
nah.
I couldn't. I was just right, man. It's okay. You know what I'm saying?
when I'm right, I'm right. When I'm wrong, I still could have been right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's true.
Nah, shout out to Detroit. Honestly, man, I feel like they're definitely not being talked about enough. I know we had a segment on them a couple weeks ago and stuff, but just the media overall, I definitely feel like they're not. You see this whole Stephen A versus LeBron thing going on. I feel like there's a lot more important things to be talking about.
I will say this: Detroit is the 5th seed right now, but they can potentially move up to even getting the 3rd seed in the East. But they're they're like 3.5 games out. So
real quick, I'm not mad that Cade's first team. I personally had Donovan Mitchell. I agree with everything else that's up there. I just don't see Cleveland having the record that they do, finishing out the season with one of the best records in the NBA, and then not having Donovan Mitchell up there for first team. I had Cade personally second team.
So real quick before we dive into that, we got a comment. Shout out to our boy Steven, man. He comments saying Jaws out of there next season. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all, Steven, man. I'm sorry for your loss in the playoffs in our fantasy, man. Lost to the guy in my bottom. I won't say bottom right, but we all on one side of the screen. But lost to Mike in the second round. I know how that feels, Steven. He beat me in the football one.
Listen, the only thing I got to say about fantasy,
but he beat me.
Fantasy basketball specifically, is stop ending the season when we're having people freaking load manage, time manage, and stuff. Like injuries happen to us. They just end it at the wrong
So
time.
I can change. I can add an additional 3 weeks because they gave me that option. I'm like, that's probably going into the playoffs. So I just thought keeping it where it normally has been the last 5-6 years.
I'm dealing with mad injuries. I got mad people sitting out, SGA sitting out for rest for me, and I needed those points. So
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it because half my team was out. Listen, we got to fix that next season.
I
don't like doing this, but I need to do this real quick because since we're on the fantasy topic, there's a gentleman by the name of Tommy that was talking a lot of bullshit going into this fantasy. Talking about he's going to beat me, this and that. No one.
Not the full screen.
I beat him last year in the championship, so I don't know why he talking to me. He didn't talk to me nice. Sir, let me look at the camera. You went home in the first round.
Don't make it seem like he lost to somebody that was
1, 2, 3 Cancun for you, my boy. Well, you see me just back in another championship like I always do. So next season, try again. Maybe you and Ace can give me some more comp. That's it. Sorry, Ace cut straight, but
we gotta clip that.
Like they did something in the grade A fantasy, man. If I me and Mike is going at it right now. It's like
it's crazy. It's crazy. We got to give y'all a round of applause because you guys made it into football fantasy and the basketball fantasy.
Well, no, I lost.
It was you and me in the finals, Jason.
Mike beat me in the second round.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, listen, Mike's there 2 in a row.
Listen, Lou, let me tell you something, Lou. The week I lost to Mike in the fantasy football, I had never, all my years of playing fantasy football, any fantasy, I ain't never seen someone's entire life have career weeks. Entire lineup. Even the kicker gave him almost 20 points. I was like, yo, there's no way, bro.
Yo, Mike got intel, man.
Let me tell you something. There's only 4 of us. So by default, he had to make the playoffs. He was 4-12.
and he won. He won.
Yo.
Like, yo, that shit, I'm sorry for my language. That pissed me off more because I'm like, yo, I should have walked to the championship. Literally should have walked. But
Oh man.
But see, listen, we was dealing with a minimal amount of people, so everybody made the playoffs. So everybody watching and tuning in, we do this fantasy stuff every season. If you're wanting to join and willing to join, keep up with the show. And by the time we get ready to enroll in that again, maybe you could be a part of that.
I felt like we was in the pandemic during the fantasy football.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, everybody on the podcast might as well get in the little league next season.
I'm with it. All I say is this though: if I happen to beat Mike this week, that's back to back chips, and that's what 3 and 4. I'm the dynasty. Just come correct when you talk to me. That's all I'm gonna say.
The people that you were talking to is the people that you need to direct that to. That's fine.
Hey, I'm with all the smoke. No matter who line up against me, I'm with it. No matter. But now me and Mike going at it right now. I think I'm up like 20 points going into the games today. So we've been going back and forth with the league. So
man,
it's funny you mentioned the thing about T-Top. I got to put this out there. So last week, I was afraid to play Steven. I'm not going to lie. So I was saying, do I toss this last week game, or do I jump up to 3rd and just toss it and go back to 5th so I don't have to play him until the championship? But I know Musa said earlier this year, he said, yo, you need to make sure you beat T-Top. So I made sure I put him in the grave last week of the season.
You put him where, Mike?
Yeah, Mike.
Put him in the dirt.
Yeah. I'm going that T-Top pack.
It is crazy. We gotta get a clip of Tommy talking all that shit that he was talking when we did the live fantasy. We gotta clip that out.
I pray for his sake because he was doing 2 drafts at the same day. I hope he did one on the other one. I hope he did, because if not, this was all for nothing for you, my boy.
Let's get back to this All NBA team, man. I mean, what we doing with Cade? We taking the vote?
So, I'll say this. Well, it's only 4 of us, so I can't even do that. I'll be the mediator. I'm cool if y'all want to put Donovan Mitchell at the first team. I'm cool with that, like I was last week. I'm cool. I know Cade's gonna be first, at lowest. Cade's second team. I know that for a fact. So, but
Lou, what you had? Cade first team?
Of course, he was the first one to say it.
Mike, you had what you had?
To be real, I had K's second team just because of the D Mitchell situation. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not biased. I rock with K the hard way, but like you said, with Cleveland being at the top, like it's hard not to, like, you know what I'm saying, have your top player who's gotten y'all to the top seed not be in the All NBA first team discussion. So that's just kind of where I went with it.
Now, for those who didn't watch last week's episode and those who weren't on the show, let me explain why I went with Cade over Donovan. For me, when it comes to All NBAs, I look at the individual player first, then the team, and then for the All-Star break, it's reversed. When I looked at the team success, obviously Cleveland's been the best team, if not the second best team in the league for the majority of the year. But individual season, I believe Cade was having a better individual season than Donovan Mitchell. Now, obviously, that comes with a price, because obviously Cleveland is the better team, so Mitchell doesn't have to do as much. But because of that, I kind of just gave a slight nod to Cade. But again, we're splitting hairs. If Mitchell got the first team, I ain't going to be mad, because I always said he's the best shooting guard in the league. So that was kind of where my stance was for this season. And this season only. I wasn't looking at last season and things of that nature.
Nah, I feel your point.
Yeah, because I mean, you had a thing, man. It took you a while to get on the K bandwagon because you weren't feeling it.
Cap,
you wasn't that. Hey, look, when I was saying earlier. Hey, look, when I was saying earlier in the few episodes, man, when I said K's gonna be top 10, if not top 5 in the league by the end of the season. And granted, we already went over that. He's top 10, not top 5. We went over that.
Is K top 10?
Did we not put him in the top 10 category?
Nah, I think when you first came on, I think the top 10 that kind of blew me was
Jalen
Green.
I had Jalen Green, and then he went on a rampage. He went on a 7-game rampage of 30 or more. So I went completely off by saying that, and
No,
they're
you were
still
way
second.
off.
Yeah, but
They're
top
still
10,
second.
You were way
They're
off.
still second in the West. So I mean, let's be real. You can't deny his input is also a big reason why they second in the West.
Okay, the Houston Rockets are second in the West. Jalen Green is not top 10.
You take facts. But if you take Jalen Green off the Houston Rockets, are they top 2 in the West?
No, just like if you take Sengun off that team, they're not top 2 in the West. I think it goes.
They might be top 4, but they might not be top 2.
I don't know about that. That's not a bad take, though. It's not a bad take.
Yeah.
Jalen Green top 10 was
them two are a major contribution to where Houston is next year. Even though they have a real good team,
Sengun
they got a lot of pieces. But
I ain't gonna lie, I've been bigging up Sengun, but if I'm being honest, he's been pissing me off.
why? Because of fantasy?
No, not fantasy. It's the fact that he just does bonehead ass stuff, like turning the ball over at the wrong times. He's not. I know people get on Jokic, but Jokic actually tries on defense and is somewhat serviceable around the rim. Sengun is not at all. He still has a lot of deficiencies he needs to clean up. So when I was on the take of I think he's the most important player on that team, it was because of everything he brings to the team offensively. But defensively, it's just been so bad. I think now, based on what we've seen thus far, the most important piece on that team is Amen Thompson. And another name I'm not going to mention because we're going to talk about that once we get to the best bench player segment.
Steven said, I'll be back next year.
Of course.
It's a wrap for you. And Dad, why you got to come after me?
Yo, didn't you beat him, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I think so, yeah.
No. I beat you and it might beat him. No.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I beat him.
But Steven did have a nice team, though. I ain't gonna lie. He was
putting some work. I wasn't expecting Steven to really be locked in like that.
But honestly, if we had the other mofos in our damn league paying attention, it would have been a little bit more competition.
I ain't gonna lie. I was surprised I only lost 3 games up to this point. In the last game against you in the regular season, I was like, I don't even care. I'm comfortable with the first seed. I'm good. It don't even matter. Then I looked at the seeding. I was like, I probably should have tried to win that last game because of the seeding.
The second team. I mean, the first team is solid. I think that's exactly what I had personally. The second team is exactly what I had personally too. Do y'all have anything different for the second team?
I have Mike's list. The first team, as you see, is exactly what Mike had. Second team, Mike has Karl-Anthony Towns. And if I'm looking down, it's because I'm reading it off my phone. Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, Cade, Evan Mobley, and Anthony Edwards as his 5. So instead of this is it. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's exactly what I had too. Oh, actually, no, my fault. I had LeBron James as second team. Yeah, that was the only thing different for me. I had LeBron James swapped out for Cat. But I'm not mad at this right here at all, though.
So I like to hear you guys. Well, Mike, you can explain why you have Cat over LeBron for the second and third team if you like. And once Lou's back, he can talk whether it was his.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we hear you.
Yeah. So I just went to my list on my phone as well. So, but I'll let Mike go.
So yeah, Mike, you could talk briefly like why you have Cat over LeBron, and then Lou, you can go on with your All NBA second team, what you have for your 5 on that list.
Yeah, personally, especially since Brunson's been out, Cat's been carrying the Knicks. When he's not on the floor, like you look at the Clippers game the other night, as soon as he goes off the floor there towards the end of the third, goes from a even game to a 20-point lead for the Clippers in a matter of, 3-4 minutes, something like that. I know James Harden caught on fire, but it's been a lot of games like that this year. And then when the Knicks are on back-to-backs too, you see it. As soon as Cat goes off the floor at the end of that third quarter on a back-to-back, it can be tied, they can be up by 20. They're going to lose just because of all the minutes they play. And then you look at LeBron. He's had help out there this year in LA with Anthony Davis. He got Luka, Austin Reeves. I just don't feel like the Knicks necessarily have that help, and I know a lot of people earlier in the year thought Cat might be an MVP candidate, so I got him over LeBron personally.
I had Cat early on in the season as a first team lock. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. So I'm not mad at that at all. But Lou, I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna let you rock. What was your All NBA second team list?
I had Brunson, Steph, Cade, LeBron, and surprisingly, I had KD.
So Brunson, Cade, KD, Braun, and Steph.
Yeah.
You think Steph's been a top 10 player this season?
I think during the stretch since they acquired Jimmy Butler, they kind of have made a strong push, and it's still based off of Steph Curry with his. I mean, obviously been hurt with that tailbone issue, but I think you still can't. You take away his points in the games that he's played up until that injury, and they don't win if he don't score those points. So that's why I say you still can't get from his impact enough to get them from sitting out at like almost 9 or 10, all the way up to 7 to 6 or 8, still fighting in. But yeah, I got Steph.
So do you believe he's been better than Anthony Edwards this season?
Oh dang, I didn't even tell y'all that. I had Ant-Man in all first team.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, I had Ant-Man in first team.
so wait, hold on. Let's go back then. What's your first team? Because you said you had.
So let me
Mitchell
just
first
yeah,
team.
yeah.
You got
Let me go
Ant-Man.
back. Let me go back because I had it all twisted up.
Oh,
So say this. I actually didn't. I had Mitchell in my third team when I first did it, but then as we were talking, I kind of like I said, y'all made sense, and I was like, Mitchell can be
hold on.
13.
Let's
That's
back
it.
up.
So listen.
Forget
This
the.
is just
And
how
I'm gonna give
crazy
you a
this was.
straight list
This
first.
is how crazy this was.
Bring
When I
it
was
back.
looking at the whole entire thing, I'm thinking like the impact, who's been dominating all season for their squads, and the impact that it's had on the whole team total record. So when I did that, I had Shea, Joker, Giannis, Tatum, and then Ant-Man was my fifth one. Then when I did second team, originally is when then I just laid out to you what I had second team, which was Brunson, and I thought KD, given his contribution, still averaging about 26.3, I think, for points, which is still tied for like I think 13th or 12th in the league still, which is big. Even though they've been playing like crap, you still got to give his overall production where it is. Cade, of course, and then LeBron, given their impacts of their team since their trade impact. Steph getting his trade impact. Then third team, I had Donovan Mitchell, Cat, Tyler Hero, Trae Young, and then I was on the fence, but I had kind of put D Book down. So it was kind of like up in the air, and I'm just it's as I'm talking, it's starting to make sense, and I ain't meaning to change my input, but I still got the right to change my input now.
I just don't know how.
I just like how Lou just try to de-escalate that whole
Yeah.
and Donovan Mitchell 13.
There's no way.
Hero.
No, so I'll be honest. I think I said in one of the episodes leading up, I said Tyler Hero could be an All NBA player this season.
And I'm not mad at that, but
He'll
not
be
over.
13, but I just don't. So we're gonna get there. Obviously, looking at the third team list, Dame obviously not gonna make it. Is Hero gonna get in over KD? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So
Not because this is
not even Pascal either. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, you can't sleep on Siakam, man. I
Hell,
don't know why I
Tyrese
didn't even think
Halliburton
about
can
that.
still make this list. If I'm being honest.
Well, I don't think
Yeah.
Halliburton does because he had a few slump with his points this year. He kind of took a
He had a rough
let
start.
down. Yeah, and
Since the All-Star break, he's been one of the best guards in the East.
only reason I think people judge that is because he's coming off the Olympics too, and even if you didn't play as much, you were still practicing with the same teams that was playing with the same NBA players, the stars from every team. So you expect some type of like big jump. So,
But I don't. That notion really, like I used to think that way too. But actually, like really watching the games, I don't understand how people get that narrative because, especially considering the fact Tyrese barely played, just like Tatum.
not facts.
So how much really is he really kind of getting? Then you got to think about it. They're what the best players in the league.
But that's what I'm saying. Tatum came back
I
with a
don't-
vengeance too.
Tatum came back being Tatum. I don't think it's been much difference from the statistic outlook. The playoff
Statistic outlook, I think he took it personally. granted his stats are what they are, but the wins mounted more than the stats I think for Tatum this year. Just to
No,
show everybody.
the wins is less this year.
Yeah, I get what you're saying because you still the team to beat. You still the team to beat at the end of the day. So you're gonna
Right.
get everybody's
But you
best
could-
game.
I
But
think that
regardless.
narrative with the team to beat was going to be there regardless of him if he played more minutes in the Olympics or not, because they were the
For
champions.
sure. But that's what I'm saying. You can't act like it didn't add fuel to the fire on coming into the season. Like just
For
because of that, everybody else got to suffer the consequences. Now I gotta do
I
all
think-
y'all.
I'll
dirty.
be honest though, for Tatum, I don't think he really thinks like that.
I think at the beginning, you kind of sensed that he felt that way because he was balling out of his mind and he was taking a lot of shots at the beginning of the season. And he was being ultra aggressive at the beginning of the season. It wind down a bit, and then it started turning into, all right, let's set ourselves up in place to get a good seeding with everything that's going on. Cleveland's balling out right now. Let's not I don't want to put myself in a predicament where I'm overexerting my body and then I cause injuries, or I'm just doing too much, not affecting the team in a good way.
Yeah, I think that's the normal route. He started off hard, aggressive, like to you and Lou's point. I think it kind of plateaued. I don't think it dropped. I think it just plateaued a bit, which happens because it's a long season for everyone. And then he started picking it back up towards the post All-Star break, because that's when now they're trying to get that rhythm and get ready for the playoffs. It's just he had the little ankle injury, unfortunately, but he's playing today against San Antonio because he don't like missing games. But yeah, I don't. Back to the main point. I don't know about the narrative with the whole Olympic thing. Where people get it from. I don't know. Let me backtrack that. I understand where people get it from. I just don't know why people kind of hold on to it so much. Because at the end of the day, when you go back to your regular teams, all that talent you had, where you can learn from them a lot, sure. You have to try to carry some of that over, like to your point, Lou. But things are going to be different. You're not going to have all that talent to play with. So you're gonna kind of have to adjust to back being the main guy, depending on your role on the team and things of that nature. So
For sure. If you say he became a better leader for the Pacers after playing in the Olympics, that's still a skill, an important skill you can take and move forward. So,
and I think the team's healthy too, so that adds on to him being a better leader. To your point.
As far as the third team, though, is it fair to swap out Dame for KD?
I'd go Siakam personally over KD.
Let's hear it, Mike. Why Siakam should be third team over KD? I'm not mad at that, to be honest, but I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I think I alluded to it a little bit last week too. Like I understand, I'd even go Devin Booker over KD too. To be honest with you, because I know Lou had him on his list. I think
losing me
because I think I understand it's not on the court. It's a lot of off the court stuff, but it is translating to on the court. There's been a constant problem where no matter where he goes, other than Golden State and OKC at the beginning. Wherever he goes, stuff falls apart and it doesn't work out with all the talent around him. And I think he should get docked for that, especially where they might not even make the play-in this year. So I understand it's a personal award, but I'd just rather give it to a guy like Siakam because I've said it for a while now on this show. It's just what he should have been and what he has become is just two different things.
But I feel like that's a little flawed.
KD is still averaging damn near 27 points a game, damn near touching a 50, 40, 90 season once again. Devin Booker's having the worst shooting seasons probably ever. And KD's literally the only consistent thing going on in Phoenix right now. I'm not mad at Siakam, but not over KD, not this year.
I'm not even. I think Siakam have a better argument than Booker. I just don't see the Booker.
Yeah, not Booker.
But that's
Booker's
why I had
having a
KD
horrible
as
season
second team as well, because once again, given the way their season is going, he's still being high efficient. It may not be what you want, but it's still 26 points per game.
He's touching 50, 40, 90 again.
You can't take that away from his production just because the wins are not amounting to what he's putting out there. That's why I give him second team, to be real.
Okay. Be real bad. I'm not mad at you mentioning Booker. However, I feel like the argument you gave is more flawed because it seems like you're docking KD for past transgressions because you mentioned the history he had with Brooklyn and Golden State. So I want to kind of reel it back into it being pertaining to this season. With this season, with how everything has unfolded with Phoenix, it's not. If not, KD might get least blame when you look at it from just a basketball standpoint. When you look at the overall view, obviously KD's going to get the most blame because he's the main player on that team. A la Devin Booker, realistically. I mean, we know Booker is Booker's team, but the best player is Kevin Durant. You can make that argument. But I just feel like Booker being in and out and having that slump early on, trying to be more of a playmaker, trying to still include what's his name? Bradley Beal. The whole Nurkic situation has been so much turmoil with that team. He's really been the only consistent player outside of maybe Booker. And Booker had his downfalls throughout the year. So because of those things on the court, given this season, I would slightly give it KD to nod over Booker.
What I'm doing is, I know what you're saying there in the beginning. I'm holding him to a different standard because he's a made man in the NBA already. If we're talking about you, if we have to debate you on the third team and you're a made man, I'd rather give it to someone else to try to get to that point.
So what would you consider as a made man? And then the second point of that question is Devin Booker not a made man in himself?
No, he is, but I'm talking more on the Siakam point for that. Okay. But yeah, because like you look at guys on this list like Giannis, Tatum at this point is Jokic, SGA is just about there. LeBron, without a doubt, Steph, like Ant-Man's pretty close there.
Siakam
is Mobley a made man?
Not yet. He's too young, but he can very well be soon within the next few years.
Siakam's won a championship.
Yeah, no, I know, but that was with Toronto. So, when you think of that team, you think of Kawhi, not him. So,
okay, fair point. So back to the third team. Well, to get kind of wrap up before we get to the best part, in my opinion, is the defense. Obviously, Dave's not going to be there. You can vote yay or nay for KD or Siakam or even Booker. So, who agrees with Booker on this spot?
Nah.
Moving on. The quietness spoke. Siakam.
Yeah, that's my vote, as you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go KD.
I think the vote will be KD for this spot. Fair enough. All right, we're gonna move on to the defensive team. I'll let you guys go first, Peso and Luke. What you guys?
The defensive team is exactly how I have it. Dyson Daniels, I got Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr., Luke Dort. I'm honestly surprised you guys had him up there. I thought I would have seen SGA on either first or second team.
Hell no.
But no, that's my list. Definitely, Luke Dort. I think when we talk about, because I believe OKC is the best defense in the league right now too, and I really put that on his back more than anybody else on that team. He's out there strapping up against the opposing team's best players night in and night out. So
cool.
Luke Dort.
Oh yeah. They have the best defensive team, and Shea's probably the sixth best defender on that team.
Nah, that's exactly what I have for
he's tied for second in the league in steals, though, right?
And Jokic is also in that category.
Ooh. For sure.
Steph Curry led the league in steals.
I don't think that.
But does that not play a part in their defense as well, though?
So when this is why I say this is the best topic, because I'm about to dissect this before.
Whether you get a steal from taking it from the opposite side, and it's still a steal.
No, I'm not disputing the steal part, although it's very minimal when you look at the defensive side of the ball. When you look at everything else that factors in. So the reason why I mentioned they're one of the best defensive team in the league, he's probably the sixth or seventh best defender on that team, is because what he's asked to do and what he does at the level compared to his counterparts. So one, obviously I'm not gonna spend much time on these first two names. J-Dub, Lou Dort. That speaks for itself. They're better at the point of attack. They're more versatile defenders. They're better on the ball. They're better playing the passing lanes, and they're better playing off ball. And this is not to knock SGA, because SGA is a great defender, but I around much better defenders, which adds on to that defense.
I also think the field goal percentage plays, against opposing players is like huge for Luke Dort and J-Dub too.
Sure. Another name, Casey Wallace is a much better defender
For
than
sure.
than
Cason's top 5, I think, in steals in the league.
Hartenstein for what he does on that team. Alex Caruso. I'm just naming the players on that team. That's 5 right there. And then I even mentioned Chet. That's 6. So
You think Caruso is a better defender than SGA this year?
yes, he's just a better defender. Period. Yes.
I mean, overall, I could see where you're going with that, but this year,
You taking a lot away from Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
No, I'm not.
Saying that.
No, I'm not. Again,
So I say he's the 6th best defender on his team, though.
he's potentially is he? I already gave you 4. That you all agreed on. That's better than him.
I'm
We
not
didn't
gonna-
agree.
I'm not
I
gonna
just
agree
didn't.
with
We just
Hartenstein
didn't tell
either.
you no.
No,
Yeah,
Hartenstein
hey.
wasn't the 4 I was talking about. J-Dub, Lou Dort, Hasten Wallace. That's 3 locks better than him.
Yeah, I could agree. Caruso, I'd have just
Is
don't
Chet
agree
not a
with.
better defender?
Than SGA.
Yes. For what he brings to that team?
I mean, I don't think he's good on the perimeter as good as he is in the paint. The same thing, vice versa with SGA, but I would go with SGA more.
Is Caruso not a better defender than SGA?
I don't think so. Not this year.
What you're talking about is overall skill and not the actual stats that transit are
No, I'm
part
talking
of.
about both. And from what
So
you see,
then, saying what we see on the court is the same thing. They're all good defenders, but who's coming up with the steals? Who's coming up with the blocks?
so if you
Because these are how they're. Let's be real. These are how they're winning the defensive awards. Defensive, all first team, second team, third
But I
team.
think I
It's
think
not
that's
just by. It's
just
not
that.
just all overstyle play. It's just also by stats as well. How many steals
It's
do you
not
have?
so that
How
if
many
it's just,
blocks do you have?
if it's just by
What do-
stats, then why is Curry? Why wasn't Curry an all defensive player of the year candidate when he led the league in steals? It's not just about the steals and the blocks. It's not just
and
about.
and I do think Luke Dort is up there for, you know, not just steals or not just blocks, but holding his opposing defenders to a certain percentage throughout the season plays a big part
And
in that award too.
And the reason why I mentioned Chet and Hartenstein being better defensively is because we all, and this is not even my opinion, it's a fact based on how the DPOY awards get announced. Given. Rim protection is held higher than the perimeter. And I don't agree with that, but if you look at how this plays out with the DPOY awards, majority of the times it's the biggest because they're able to rim protect, they're able to clean glass, because whether people agree with it or not, you finishing the job on defenses, you have to secure the rebound. All that ties into it. Hartenstein has been really good at rim protecting and altering shots, as well as Chet in this season. So because of
So
that,
roles reverse, Moose. If you are the best player on your team and you are leading not the team but the league also in steals, you mean to tell me you would be all right with somebody coming who don't know the team like that to say you are the 6th best defender on your team, let alone you lead your team in steals, let alone the league in steals?
I just don't think steals is
if
just
you
enough.
can give me the legit argument behind it, I wouldn't be mad at it.
I just don't think steals is enough to, like, you leading the league in steals is enough to really just clarify you as the best defender in the league.
You
could be top.
you go
By the
in
way,
to be
just
the
to
top,
clarify-
one of the top defenders
Yeah,
in the league, right or wrong. So
Just
that's
to
what
clarify,
that's
Shea
my point.
third in steals. Shea is third in steals.
He's tied up with Jokic in steals right now, and
And
Casey
Knight-
Wallace is like 5th. So Casey
Wallace-
Wallace is not far behind him. So
Yes,
what I'm saying
he's
is
not, but
to be on top of that, he's the second or first leading scorer behind Jokic as well. Whoever's 1 and whoever's 2.
scoring
But
does
them
not
the-
defense, but go ahead.
Okay, what I'm saying is I'm talking about their input on defense as well as much as on offense. They're giving you defensive stats and offensive stats. Steals play a part one way or the other. Not to take away from Casey Wallace, not to take away from Caruso, not to take away from Chet or Hartenstein. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting the steals or the blocks, they're not recognizing you. Like Walker Kessler, he's leading the league in blocks, but ain't nobody mentioned him as far as defensive player of the year, which
Well,
is all
Yeah,
first and
that's
second team. Like I'm looking at this all second team. He ain't on there. You got
That's
Rudy
from
Gobert
a-
over
but
him.
that's from
It's
a,
not just based on blocks, because I think
Yeah.
Zubac has been better than Walker Kessler. So
As
has
far
Rudy.
as defense as a whole.
Yes.
And that's why I feel like where we're at nowadays, and not specifically honing in on us, but we look at things from a statistical standpoint, which that plays a big factor because you have to have the numbers to prove your the reason why you need to be in that position, whatever it is. But it also comes down to the eye test. What do we actually see? Like we all know with OKC, like SGA defensively, most of the time this year, he's been on the most probably weakest
Just tell her how. Yes,
perimeter player
assigned
on the opposing team. He's not guarding the best player on the opposing team night in and night out, like a Caruso may be or Luke Dort may be. So those steals, for me personally, like sometimes it's on ball, but sometimes it's just pick and pop and get your hand out there. And you know what I'm saying? Like just steals alone is just not enough. What is it that you do more?
And again, I want to clarify, this is not knocking this. He is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. One of the best defenders at his position. But to have that much defensive-oriented players who are equal, if not better than you on your team, not only enhances your defense, which is what it has shown this season, it allows you to put more energy onto the offensive end, which helps you also.
Let me ask y'all this. When Marcus Smart won the Defensive Player of the Year, do y'all recall how much steals he averaged?
I can look it up.
It wasn't, even if it was around the same or not, like I just think the difference between when it comes to guard play is just what more value do you bring out there defensively besides just getting steals?
And I think he was probably like top 5 in setting and taking charges as well.
So somebody like him being all over the place, like, we talk about the Draymond Greens, we talk about the Luke Dorks, like we actively, besides the numbers, we actively see them out there. Like
he averaged 2 steals a game the year he won DPOY.
But there was so many other factors in why Marcus Smart won Defensive Player of the Year that year, and clearly was the best defender on his team. But I do agree. I don't think SGA is the best defender on his team.
I gave y'all 6 that I can argue over him. And that's not
that was my problem, is not to say that how do you lead the league in steals or top and you the 6th best defender on your team. Now I can understand 2nd or 4th, but the 6th best defender is like, wow.
But it makes sense because I'm gonna keep harping on it. Curry led the league in steals, and we can clearly say he wasn't the top 5 defender on his team. So it can
everybody know his on ball defense sucks though. But we're not saying that about SGA. You're not saying that he has horrible on ball offense.
No,
a horrible on ball defense. You're just saying he doesn't guard the top players on the other team. That's the only argument, right?
No, the other argument is the other players I mentioned that who are similar to him come out. I'm excluding Chet and Hartenstein for the perimeter part about the argument I'm about to make. I'm just saying there's the names I mentioned, Cason Wallace, J-Dub, Lou Dort, Caruso, can do equal, if not have been better on the perimeter and off ball and all the other things that you want to include when it comes to perimeter-oriented defense.
But that
Shea.
At the same time, that's not really Shea's fault because that's why those pieces are there to take on that.
Which is the point I made a few minutes ago. It's like I'm not me saying that is not to diminish Shea. It actually helps him because he's able to do what he does on offense.
To me, it sounds like, and I'm gonna switch it up. And it's gonna go towards football. What's buddy name that played for the Panthers? The cornerback that everybody said he was a top corner, but he played zone the whole time. They got into it with Odell.
Josh Norman?
No, Josh Norman.
I don't know. I would not have said that, but.
No, but you see what I'm saying? They just kind of downplayed and said he was one of the top corners, but he only played zone the whole time, that whole season, where they diminished, made him the best corner in the league or the top corner or shut down corner at that time.
Those people were fools. They did the same thing with Nnamdi Asomugha, and they paid him all that money.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, hey, it's kind of like the same banter in a sense.
Yeah, I just think that's where we're just at in today's league. Is just these awards and stuff is a bit watered down. But
I think it's just narrative driven.
But I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm solid with the first team. I'm not mad at it.
I will probably I know me and Mike talked about this. I would swap Draymond for J-Dub. I think J Dub has been a better defender this
To
year.
be real, I had
Then Draymond.
Yeah. The
had-
reason why Draymond's even getting this much steam right now is because he got the podcast. He's been talking about, he's been vouching for himself, which I ain't mad at because he's been great defensively this year.
Nah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think
But-
it's like because he's been putting it all on the floor.
I just think J Dub has been the better defender than the entirety of the season. I think there's been some laps between.
Y'all, I got one switching for Lou Dort because I ain't really have him right there. I had Alsor Thompson from Detroit.
He didn't play enough games.
He was an honorable mention because of the game thing
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to remove him again because I was like, yeah, he ain't no way he ain't making it based off of that. But if you say the games, then yeah.
A name that people don't talk about enough is this man right here.
Yeah.
Um,
Kamora.
Mhm.
Yeah, he been putting on for Portland.
So
yeah, I think my
Got
second
into their
team.
starting lineup.
I
had
had
him-
a few nights ago against Sacramento. I was watching that Sacramento game.
Yeah, I had Amen Thompson. I had Zubac on there. I had J Dub on there. Rudy Gobert, of course, and I think my other one was Giannis. My last pick was Giannis.
I think
I haven't really paid attention. I've been hearing about Kamara out there, but I haven't honestly really watched this game too much.
And Zubac has been great.
Zubac is kind of, I mean, besides Kawhi coming back and doing what he's doing recently, Zubac's been a big pivotal piece for the Clippers this season.
If you look at and I don't like to harp on this, but I'm just gonna bring it up for those who care that's watching. People like to bring up the defensive rating when the players are on and off the court. So for those who care about the stat, I don't have the exact stat, but it's a drastic drop off when Zubac is on the court for the Clippers and when he's off the court. So I think the way especially if you go back and watch the game against Cleveland, the way he dominated against Jared Allen and Mobley on the glass. I think he had like 20 rebounds that game alone. Zubac's ability to, again, this is why I bring up how stats is not always the main thing, especially with defense. The way Zubac's able to alter shots, whether at the rim or on the perimeter at times when he gets caught on those screens, it's been really great for the Clippers. The way he's been able to clean glass or defensively for the Clippers has been great. And of course, him being a rim protector has been great. So I think he's someone that should get a nod, at least some votes for defensive team, second team. But yeah, Asar would definitely been on this list. Obviously, Wemby would have been on this list had they played the games and stuff like that. So yeah.
But no, I'm pretty solid with this list, to be honest with you. I think the only person, like I said, if I had to swap out was Kamara, just because I haven't really paid attention to him. I had Giannis, but the other four is pretty much the same for me.
Yeah, and for example, with again with the steals and blocks, is not the sole factor. What Dyson Daniels is doing defensively with steals and deflections this season is historic, and he don't even sniffed when they talks about DPOY.
He was second on the odds board for a while until Draymond moved up.
So, but even when you look at people that talk about DPOY, whether it's our show or other shows, even the media, he rarely gets talked about as one of the leaders. Like if he does, he's probably fourth, so he's right outside the finalists. But
It's because of the team defensive rating. They dock him for
that too, which I think is kind of like that's hit or miss because if that's the case, well, no, they'd be consistent with offense when players are doing what they're doing offensively. Because look at LaMelo, for example. LaMelo was leading the league, and not leading the league. He was top 5 in the league at some point with scoring, but the team was not having a good success. They docked him for that. So I guess they was consistent with that. So I'll take that back. All right, this is the list. I see you guys said this is a solid list. There's no other changes you guys will probably make. So I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. And Peso, I think we're gonna get into the next 2 segments before we wrap up.
Oh yeah. I think we was just gonna talk about what we had. Basically, just getting into who do we feel like is the best 6-man of the year right now. And real quick, just to throw it out there, I'm gonna be a homer, but if I had to pick, it would be Peyton Pritchard for me. He's been the best piece off of the bench for the Celtics. Even when starters are out, he comes in. does what he needs to do. He had a couple 30-plus point games this season. For a guy his size and what he brings to the table, Lou, he kind of reminds me of Kyle. Shout out to you, brother. But he puts his heart out there. He deserved the contract that he got recently with Boston. I do think he will win Sixth Man of the Year. But yeah, if I had to pick, it would be Peyton Pritchard.
I know. Real quick, I'm gonna let y'all go. With Boston, I'm happy they got their money, but it's looking like they're gonna have to give up two key players this offseason just to keep the money aflow. So that's the unfortunate part with that. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm not mad at the Pritchard take. I got someone else. Hopefully, Mike doesn't take who we think I'm gonna go with, but I'll let you go, Mike and Lou.
Well, for Sixth Man of the Year, I think the race is over. Pritchard's won it, but
Yeah.
I know you. Yeah, I know you guys put in the thing. Who's your favorite bench player? Personally, me, for my favorite bench player in the league, he won Sixth Man of the Year last year, is Naz Reid. I know he's not going to win the award this year, but I still think consistently he would be my sixth man that I would want on my team.
Yeah.
What you got, Lou?
Nah, yeah, y'all. As much as I don't want to admit, Pritchard probably got that hands down for Sixth Man of the Year. Like you said, he's probably the one having the most fun coming off the bench because it's pretty much he ain't got to do much to like be a difference maker. He gets to kind of have fun playing ball, and it shows in his play, and that's why he's putting up those big numbers. He's having fun playing ball. Like that game, him and Derek White went off for those threes. Come on, man, that's completely fun. At that point, everybody knows once you find your rhythm shooting the ball. And then no matter from what range or what side of the court you shooting it from, you done already found it. Bro, you having fun at this point. You laughing at folks. This is a joke. This is pickup ball. So I think he finally had that pickup ball moment this past season, and it's consistent with it. So I give it to Pritchard for that.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think Pritchard will win the award this year. But who I think is a bench player, like the player itself, I'm not going Pritchard. Some guys I want to just give them some love, even though that's not who I'm picking. DeAndre Hunter has been great this year. Ty Jerome has emerged. Keon Ellis is another name I want to mention. He's been starting a few games. But the player I'm going with, and Mike didn't mention him, so I'm kind of happy, is Tari Eason from Houston. I think he's the best bench player. His ability he's not the shooter Pritchard is.
Right, because he's taller, he can do more.
He can do more. He can be efficient as well. He's not as efficient, I think, as Pritchard this season. But his ability to be more versatile defensively, he can rebound, he can still put the ball in the hole, on the ball, off the ball, ability to defend, all those things. I will go with Tari Eason as the best bench player for me this year.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, I do think Pritchard's gonna get that award though for sure.
Yeah, I
And last topic before we wrap up and get up out of here. If you guys had a team to GM for the next 10 years, who would it be?
San Antonio.
I was gonna say San Antonio's my pick. It was a couple teams. But just the way the cap is, the draft picks, having the De'Aaron Fox now there, you got Vassell still over there. Of course, we talk about Wemby. Yeah, definitely San Antonio was it for me. Oklahoma City is a couple teams.
I think Oklahoma would be easy. So
Orlando would be nice. A couple teams I would like to GM. A couple teams I would stay away from. Probably
Phoenix.
the Bostons, probably the Phoenixes, the Lakers. I think after a couple years with them, the Denvers, we're gonna start seeing them teams wean out.
Mike.
I'm with you. I'm with y'all on if it was a rebuilding team, which even though they're not rebuilding because they made moves, they just got injured. Spurs, and then if it's a team that's already there, OKC for sure.
Yeah, I challenge myself. OKC's not in this conversation, even for me. Even though they can be considered in the draft capital and things like that.
Go ahead and get Washington then.
I ain't pick Washington. The team I went with, although Washington wouldn't be a bad choice. Team I chose to rebuild is the Utah Jazz. And the reason being is you already have some pieces there that you can build upon. Keontae George, Isaiah Collier has been great the second half of the season. You have Taylor Hendricks there. Bryce, I'm not pronouncing your last name. It's hard to pronounce his last name, but Bryce Sensabaugh. He's a solid player also. I love RC Markkinen. I think Markkinen could play the 3 or the 4. He does give effort on defense. He's not a defender. He's not a good defender, but he does give effort, so I can appreciate that. Will Hardy is a damn good coach in this league. Despite the record, they're also tanking to try to get Cooper. But despite the record, he's a really, really good coach. And you have a rim protector in Walker Kessler, which I would make a priority to keep, although they've been trying to move off of him.
So you getting rid of Colin Sexton?
No, I like Colin Sexton too. See, I haven't mentioned Colin Sexton.
But you got to think Cooper Flag coming in wearing number 2, so where Colin going? Because he's tired of being
Cooper wore 22.
I was about to say, because Colin get tired of folks disrespecting him and think folks can take his number and just boot him on out. Like, you come in and say we taking from Cooper Flag, and he said he ain't coming unless he wearing number 2, and I ain't giving up number 2, so we got a problem. What y'all gonna do?
Y'all better figure it out in practice or something. I don't know. But
nah, you already know what's gonna happen.
I feel like if you can add a Cooper Flag to that team, that would be great for years to come with that defense. Because if you have someone who's coachable like Cooper Flag, who could play in different spots and very versatile like Markkinen, but has more of a defensive prowess, adding him with Walker Kessler will be great, especially when you have Sexton, who's a great perimeter defender as well. So that's where I will go to route. I will go. I think in the next 6 to 7 years, assuming Cooper's there and everything goes right, they can be a force in the West. And if you can't get Coop, I'm comfortable with taking Dylan Harper as my lead guard and listening for calls for like a Keontae George, maybe Collier or Sexton, depending on what I can get out of those offers as well. So the route I'll go is Utah.
Utah got to make a move with one of them guards soon. I know Colin Sexton's getting up there in age, so. But no, I'm not mad at that. But that's gonna wrap up today's show, fellas. Everybody watching, we appreciate y'all for being here and engaging with us. Just for tuning in. Continue to share the channel, like and subscribe. We just appreciate y'all for being here, and everybody have a blessed weekend.
Bless up.
Brady A.
Hey, run that thing up.